President Reagan who once said, trust but verify. So under President Obama, when it comes to cyberspace, it's more like trust and identify. That's certainly been a White House initiative to increase in terms of trust and I guess concern, if you would, in cyberspace. And Jim Sheire is with me to talk about that. He is a senior advisor at the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the Department of Commerce. And Jim, thanks for joining us.
Sure, happy to be here.
Let's talk about authentication and trust and Instick, which is an initiative that the White House has launched in order to really build up that consumer trust and faith in what they're doing out there in cyberspace.
Yeah, that's right. I'd say trust coming at it from two fundamental perspectives. So on the one hand, the trust that consumers and citizens have that the transactions they're conducting online are secure and protect their privacy. So if you're doing a transaction with a bank or with a retailer, how do you know that the information you're sharing with them, personal details like your mailing address, or like we've seen in recent breaches, your credit card information is kept safe. There's a lot of interest in the private sector to make sure that those transactions are trustworthy, not only to secure their consumers' trust, but also on their side. Every week seems to go by where we hear about a new breach. Just last week we had a big one at a major home improvement chain. So it raises this notion of, are we doing everything that we can to protect the consumer when they do those online transactions?
And so what your role then at Commerce then about bringing these different industries together, or at least identifying maybe even very specific concerns within a particular industry. What do you see your role as being?
Well, so the role of the NSTIC, the National Strategy for Trusted Identities in Cyberspace, really is threefold. The first one that you mentioned is it's to convene the private sector to develop a set of policies and standards and really a new way of doing authentication identification online that the private sector can then leverage to raise the level of trust of transactions. So we are about facilitation and engaging the private sector to help make that happen. To help make that happen, we're funding pilot projects in a number of areas, in education and health and finance, many of the solutions leveraging the cutting edge in mobile solutions. In other words, how do you identify yourself in mobile? What are the voluntary approaches you can bring there? What are the credentials you use that can leverage the power of the smartphone? How do you embed those in applications? These are the things our pilots are looking at and doing really neat things.
And those are involved, if I'm not mistaken, with startups in some cases.
In many cases,
very
startups.
Small companies that
That's right.
Are coming up perhaps with very big solutions.
Well, yeah, a good example is ID.me, a great little company that's working with our nation's veterans. And they started with a simple notion of, if a veteran goes to a company like Under Armour and wants a 10% discount, how do they identify the fact that they're a veteran? ID.me enables an online lookup ability so that a retailer can quickly verify that they are a veteran and process the discount, but without sharing a ream of personal information. Because really all that retailer cares about is whether they're a veteran or not.
Right. Are you who you say you are?
Correct.
And can you verify what
That's
you
right.
say you are too?
Exactly. And they're doing it with interoperable credentials, so a user identity that you can take anywhere you go online and use. Interoperability is a key piece of what NSTIC is about. How many passwords and usernames do you have to manage? 100?
Yeah.
200?
I can't even remember
Exactly.
half of them, right?
Wouldn't it be nice to give consumers a voluntary option? It's all voluntary. To pick one identity or maybe from a handful of identities of their choice, right, and use that anywhere, anytime.
You would be the hero of our household.
Yeah, it would be nice. In a way that's more secure and does a better job of enhancing a citizen and consumer's privacy.
Well, there is no better time or no more important time than right now in terms of instilling that kind of trust and that kind of confidence. As you point out, there are breaches, and I wish you all the best in that, because confidence in mobile adoption and having that kind of security, peace of mind is critical to the industry.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity.
You bet.